Ethan braced himself for the introduction of Sicil to his parents, hoping that this meeting would be smoother than the one with Sicil's parents. Sicil, too, was eager to meet Ethan's family, secretly yearning for at least one family's approval of their love. She had always imagined building bridges between herself and her future in-laws, but little did she know this meeting would take an unforeseen turn. As they entered Ethan's childhood home, they were greeted with warm smiles. Ethan's mother, Mary, embraced Sicil warmly, already fond of her. She had always been grateful to Sicil for the care and support she provided when Ethan had his accident. Ethan's father, Max, a proud and traditional man, shook her hand with a polite smile. He was also grateful to Sicil for her support. Yet, despite the pleasantries, an underlying tension simmered just below the surface. After a few minutes of small talk and a brief tour of the house, the family gathered in the living room. Ethan noticed how keen Sicil was to make a good impression, her eyes sparkling with optimism as she sat beside him. His parents offered her a seat near the fireplace, and the conversation soon turned to Sicil's recent college graduation. "So, Sicil," Max began, leaning back in his chair. "Now that you've finished college, what are your plans for the future?" Sicil's eyes lit up as she eagerly shared her aspirations. "I've been thinking a lot about pursuing a master's in environmental science. I'm really passionate about climate change and want to contribute to meaningful solutions. My mum and her friend Mrs. Wilson have been working on social initiatives for years, raising awareness and driving policy change around environmental issues. I want to build on that work, maybe even lead some of the projects myself." Mary smiled warmly, admiring Sicil's drive. "That sounds wonderful, dear. The world certainly needs more people like you, fighting for such important causes." But Max's expression hardened slightly, and he steered the conversation in a different direction. "That's noble work, Sicil, no doubt about it," he began, his voice thoughtful but with an edge. "But have you considered more traditional routes like focusing on family or supporting Ethan in the business? Environmental science is important, but it's not exactly practical when it comes to building a family." Sicil, sensing the shift, remained composed. "I understand your perspective, Mr. Turner, but I believe we can balance both. Ethan and I have our own ambitions, and we also want to build a strong future together, one where we both contribute equally, not just to our relationship but to the world around us." Mary interjected, her voice soothing. "The world is changing, Max. Young people today have broader horizons, and Sicil's dedication to the environment is something we should be proud of." Max, however, was not swayed. "I'm not saying it's not admirable," he said, his tone firm. "But in our family, we've always believed in clearly defined roles. A woman's primary responsibility is to the home, to care for her family and ensure stability. That's how we've maintained the business and the family's standing for generations. Ethan has more responsibilities, considering he wants to start his own business, and those come with expectations." The room grew still, the tension thickening. Ethan looked to Sicil, whose calm determination had not wavered. "With all due respect, Mr. Turner," she replied carefully, "I respect tradition, but I believe in equality. Men and women should share responsibilities, both at home and in their careers. We have the right to pursue our passions, to contribute to society in ways that go beyond the household. I've seen how much my mother and Mrs. Wilson have achieved, balancing their personal lives with the social causes they're passionate about. That's the kind of balance I want to achieve too." Max raised an eyebrow, his eyes narrowing slightly. "And what about the family responsibility? Ethan's future, his business? It's more than just a job, it's a startup." Sicil paused for a moment, choosing her words thoughtfully. "I'm not against family legacies, Mr. Turner. I respect what you and your family have built, but Ethan and I want to find a balance that allows us to honor both his legacy and our shared dreams. The world is evolving, and we want to evolve with it. I'm committed to both him and our future together, but that future includes my passion for social and environmental causes." Ethan, sensing the growing tension, stepped in. "Dad, I know this is different from what you might have expected, but Sicil and I are a team. We both want to support each other in our goals, whether it's in the family business or her work in environmental science. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Max remained quiet for a moment, his eyes locked on Ethan. Son, you know that building and maintaining a family and a business takes sacrifice. It's not just about chasing dreams, it's about responsibilities. Ethan nodded. I know, Dad, but we're trying to build a future that allows us to honor those responsibilities while also staying true to who we are. And Mary, ever the peacemaker, placed a gentle hand on her husband's arm. Max, let's give them some space to figure out their path. Times are different now, and they need to create a life that reflects their values. Max glanced at his wife before turning back to Sicil and Ethan. I suppose we'll see how that works out, he said, his tone softening slightly but his expression still guarded. The room fell into a brief, uneasy silence. Sicil remained composed, though she could sense the weight of Max's expectations pressing down on them. She exchanged a look with Ethan, knowing that this was just the beginning of their journey in navigating the complexities of family values and modern aspirations. Both Ethan and Sicil faced parental objections and disapproval, stemming from conflicting values and differing ideologies. These clashes became a source of strain, casting doubts on their relationship and creating hurdles that tested the depth of their love. In the wake of parental objections, Mr. Turner and Mr. Anderson devised intricate plans to redirect the course of Sicil and Ethan's lives, driven by their own visions of what they believed was best for their children. For Mr. Turner, the primary concern was to secure Ethan's commitment to the family and business. Convinced that Sicil posed a distraction to Ethan's dedication, he actively involved Ethan in various aspects of the Turner family business. Ethan, with a sense of responsibility and determination, embraced the challenges of the family business, while working overtime towards his dream of opening a restaurant. He not only sought to fulfill his familial obligations, but also aimed to display his capabilities to Mr. Anderson, hoping to prove that he was a worthy match for Sicil. On the other hand, Mr. Anderson had different aspirations for Sicil. He believed that she should pursue not just her master's in environmental science, but also business management, which would shape her into a more suitable partner for Sebastian upon his return. Enrolling her in academic pursuits, Mr. Anderson aimed to fill Sicil's time with studies, hoping that intellectual pursuits would lead her to align more closely with the expectations of the Anderson and Wilson families. He held the conviction that the misunderstanding between Sebastian and Sicil would be resolved once he was back. As Sicil and Ethan navigated these intricacies, they found themselves entangled in a web of parental expectations. The plans set in motion by Mr. Turner and Mr. Anderson became a powerful force influencing the path of Sicil and Ethan's lives. The couple, determined to stay true to their love, faced the challenge of reconciling their own aspirations with the desires of their families. As Ethan embraced the responsibilities thrust upon him in the family business and his own aspirations, he took deliberate steps to integrate Sicil into his family dynamic. Aware of the disapproving atmosphere and obvious tension that surrounded her during family gatherings, Ethan stood by Sicil, offering her support. As Tia's wedding day approached, the excitement in the air was palpable, but so was the weight of responsibility that Sicil felt being chosen as the maid of honor. She was honored, of course, but also determined to make sure everything went off without a hitch. One afternoon, while they were finalizing some last-minute details, Tia beamed at Sicil, her eyes brimming with affection. Sicil, I couldn't imagine anyone else standing by my side on this special day, she said, her voice light with joy. Sicil laughed softly, warmth spreading across her face. Tia, you're going to make me cry before the big day even arrives, she teased, though she was genuinely touched. But seriously, thank you. I'm so honored you trust me with this. I won't disappoint you, I promise. Tia dramatically rolled her eyes with a playful grin. Please, if anyone's going to mess something up, it'll be me tripping down the aisle, she joked. But you'll catch me, right? Sicil giggled, shaking her head. Oh, absolutely. I'll dive in slow motion and make a big scene. It'll be epic. Tia laughed, squeezing Sicil's hands. See, that is why you're my maid of honor. You've got my back. Plus, You'll help keep Mum from having a meltdown when the cake is 2 minutes late." "I'll bring smelling salts for backup," Sicil quipped, earning another burst of laughter from Tia. They shared a moment of quiet, their laughter fading into comfortable silence as they both absorbed the significance of the day ahead. Sicil smiled softly at her friend. "Tia, your happiness means everything to me. I'll make sure it's the perfect day no matter what." Tia's eyes sparkled with emotion as she looked at Sicil. "I know you will, and I'm so glad you're not just a part of the family in some formal way. You're really my sister now." Sicil's heart swelled at the words, and she couldn't help but tease, "Does that mean I get to steal your clothes now?" "Oh no!" Tia shot back with mock sternness. "Maid of honor privileges don't extend to my closet." They both dissolved into laughter, the connection between them stronger than ever. Moments like these made Sicil feel not only accepted, but cherished by Ethan's family. With Tia's unwavering support, Sicil knew she was truly part of something special, despite the occasional judgment or whispers from others. In the end, it wasn't about those whispers. It was about the people who mattered, like Tia, who made her feel at home.